we're going to talk you through today purpose, how to align your life.
It's about finding your why, or at least acknowledging your why, what it is that you want for your life, and how you may be living towards that or not, as the case may be. Yeah. How are you supposed to know what it is? What does that look like? It's a huge question. It's a mammoth question.
We tend to figure out what it is we're going to do. And then someone else asks us, why are we doing this? And we can't always answer it, and we haven't got a clear definition. And because of that, we haven't got a clear purpose. And because of that, we don't end up in life where we want. So we feel unfulfilled.
If you'd asked me in the past about why I was doing this business, or why I was so hell-bent on this, or why have you got 3 businesses or 4 businesses? Why are you doing like that? And my why would be because I need to make money. And I think that's a lot of everybody's why.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Love One Life. I'm Fred, this is Drea, and together we're going to talk you through today purpose, how to align your life. Now, Drea, This is a subject matter of great complexity for me personally, and has been.
Yeah.
Tell us, what are we going to be talking about today that you think people are going to find really relevant to their own life?
It's about finding your why, or at least acknowledging your why, what it is that you want for your life, and how you may be living towards that or not, as the case may be, and some tips and tricks that we can help you with that we found on our journey.
And we've been on quite a journey finding our core passions, a purpose, what it is we're going to be doing, and we're still on the journey.
Yes.
Because we always are.
I think we'll always be on the journey.
So when you say what's your purpose, the vast majority of people, I think it's perfectly okay to feel, because I felt it, I know some really close people to me feel it, is I don't even know what my purpose is.
Yeah. How are you supposed to know what it is? What does that look like? It's a huge question. It's a mammoth question. It's like the first time I asked you, and before I'd even met you, like, what does love look like to you? It's huge.
That was quite a question to get on a phone call from a woman who I've just spoken to once before.
Yeah.
That was our first phone call.
It was our first phone call.
Our first phone call. Before we'd even met in person. She asked me what love meant to me.
Yeah. And you answered it really well.
Well,
so
I
already knew I was onto a winner, because you didn't just stumble and fall and didn't know what to talk about. And I suppose that has followed through in our relationship going forward. So we can have those big conversations. We can ask those big questions of each other, and we can talk it through rather than shy away from it, which is what a lot of us might do when it comes to our purpose or why are we doing something. Because it's so big, we might shy away from it. We might not have an answer, and we might just hide.
We absolutely might hide away. And just saying all that piece about our relationship, there is another episode out there called Dream Love. So if you're interested in that, go and have a listen to Dream Love.
Yeah.
And we're going to go in through like how to align your purpose with what it is you're doing. But if you don't know your purpose, what are the things that we talk about?
Well, to be fair, I think everything that we've done together has been a bit of an education for me, because anything that I did previous to meeting you was kind of innate. It was just something that I did. I had those answers in my head, but I probably hadn't written them down. But when it came to us, you were really keen to sit down and look at, why are we doing this? Why are we running a business? Why do we want to be somewhere else, abroad or somewhere in the warm? What is it going to bring to our life? So I think, if I'm honest, a lot of this talk and narrative and really defining what that is has come from being with you, for me.
Well, thank you. And that's a really, really great answer. And one of the things, so I have become somewhat of I'm going to say expert in planning for businesses, and businesses going through not only growth and scale, but change, transformation, aligning big teams of people. And I even have my own methodology I use. But this is really useful. Here you're going to see a 7Q planning wheel. And at the very top, we start with the first question in the plan is why, and then we go to what. And they're the 2 questions we're going to focus on here. I help businesses of all kinds of size, including large organizations, to planning. And one of the reasons I know about it is because in order to master of planning your own life, you've got to know your own purpose, your why, before you start figuring out what it is you're going to do. But humans, we tend to figure out what it is we're going to do. And then someone else asks us, why are we doing this? And we can't always answer it, and we haven't got a clear definition.
Yeah.
And because of that, we haven't got a clear purpose. And because of that, we don't end up in life where we want. So we feel unfulfilled. And then we're feeling regret about the past, and we're feeling doubt and negativity about the future.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think is always quite interesting to me? If you'd asked me in the past about why I was doing this business, or why I was so hell-bent on this, or why have you got 3 businesses or 4 businesses? Why are you doing like that? And my why would be because I need to make money. And I think that's a lot of everybody's why, is we put it to like, but because I've got to make money. And then it's like, but why? Like, why do you have to make money? And I have to make X amount of money. Why do you have to make X amount of money? Because I need to. And so we go backwards. And then we put it down to this like really vague reason of making money, which I think probably a lot of people will totally relate to. Why do they do anything? I have to make money to pay the bills. But you're not really looking at your life then, are you? You're not looking at your intention of what you want for your best life.
And you know what? As well as my own book, Master Any Planning 7 Questions, which I use in businesses, Simon Sinek's Start With Why is a great book. He's done ever so well with it. And he cottoned on to, which is the life-old universal language of, you need to know your purpose and your aim before you start figuring out how you're going to get there. And before that, you need to know what you want to do. So have a read of Simon Sinek's book. But when you're talking about the whys, for me, if we help people figure out their own purpose, the primary purpose that I've sort of stumbled on personally is you're here on this planet to enjoy your life as best you can.
Yeah.
Which is the purpose of this podcast.
Yes.
Right? Love one life.
Love one life.
So let's look at it. Start there. Your purpose is to enjoy your life on this planet for the time you're here as much as you can. There's things we have to do in order to survive.
Yeah.
Fit in, all the rest of it. Fitting in doesn't mean just being what everybody wants you to be, but to an extent, we have to align with societies succeed
and have community. That's what it's mainly about.
Be connected with people.
Connected, yeah.
Absolutely. So when you use the 7Q plan method, often one of the biggest stumbling blocks is the first 2 questions. Why are you doing this, and what is it that you plan to do? Forget the other 5 questions that I need to cover off. And the reason they're the problem point is because people aren't clear on their purpose, and so they start doing things. And let me give you some examples of things I've come up with, because sometimes they're a bit woolly and you have to make it specific. I'd like to be financially free. I'd like to live somewhere warm.
Yeah.
I'd like to live a fulfilling life.
Yes.
I want to be connected with people, and I want to help guide people. So they're my whys. I haven't got one. I have a multiple-pronged approach. And in order to do that, that's quite woolly of itself. So I have to make them more specific. What does financially free mean?
Yes.
So that I can start putting plans in place of how I'm going to get there. What does living somewhere warm mean? So that I can start putting in place plans of how I'm going to get there. The reason it's so complicated is that most people aren't doing anything that brings them on the path to where they want to be, their purpose. And if you were to sit them down and say, well, tell me the things you're doing day to day to get there, what will most of them say, Jay?
They haven't got the time.
They don't believe in themselves, lack of faith. There's all kinds of reasons that go around, blockers that people put in their way to stop them doing it. So the time is probably the biggest one.
I'd say that nobody feels like they've got the time because their mind is so busy, usually most of the time. And of course, when you're looking back that you're not affording the time, you're not putting the time into doing what you want to do.
Everyone says you've got 24 hours in a day. We've all got the same 24 hours in a day, same 12 hours. The reality is a lot of people, when you're flat out working in a job, you've got kids, you don't feel you've got all that time in a day. You've really got maybe between 1 and 4 hours max to do your own thing. And most people are caught up scrolling, they're caught up consuming, and they're caught up watching TV in that time.
Yeah, I would put it mainly down to consuming. Those hours are taken up by consumption.
But you can get time back because you can look at that and go, well, I don't need to scroll.
Yeah.
I could do something in that
I could
time.
be doing something with that time. You talked a little bit about your whys. I'd say that my whys in the past have been about finding peace for me. Everything that I was doing thereafter was in order to try and to find that peace. Would you say that was too big of a why?
No, not at all. I
No.
think it would always be one of a few whys that you're running
Mm,
in your life at the same time, a few things, but it was very clear for you. Peace meant, by definition, a
mm,
lack of people coming in and upsetting your world,
mhm.
people not trying to control you from the outside or control us or things going on. And you didn't want drama.
I hated
So
drama.
there was definition around it.
I didn't want to be caught up in drama. I didn't want every day to feel like a little bit of a battle. And that's how it had felt like for such a long time. And then I was able, little by little, because of essentially a plan. What am I going to do in order to achieve this peace? Well, what decisions do I have to make in order to achieve it? That I did. I'd like to say I did get to the other side of that. Like with the purpose, not everybody always manages to get there. They get there little by little. But I'd say that I have achieved peace in my life. I can sit there now and go, I can now change up my whys.
Mm,
I can move on from that because I've achieved what I needed to there. And that's also cool. Your purpose can change. It doesn't have to stay fixed. You felt like you've achieved your purpose. You can have a new purpose. That's
absolutely.
okay.
And so that purpose is a really great segue into thinking around, let's look at some big businesses. Let's look at the Amazons of the world who, going back now almost 30 years,
Mm,
were all about helping people have an online marketplace.
mm.
Well, that was their why, their purpose, their
That was
vision.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos,
Yeah.
right?
So,
And I would say he's done a pretty good job of that, but he knew his why, he knew his purpose. It was to give people this
yeah.
online marketplace where they could buy anything they wanted.
Yeah.
Another one I always liked was Google. It was always about helping people find anything they wanted, with
Yeah.
one click. And so they had a clear vision, and that business was built around that vision. So
Mm,
knowing why you're doing something is really important because it means in business that you stick closer to your direction and you stay on track more. And then so bringing that into your personal life
mm.
is if you don't have a purpose, if you're just living day to day in a job, firstly, that's okay
It's fine.
because huge amounts of us are. And it also depends at your stage in life. Not everyone is at every stage in life going to be ready to follow their own purpose. Sometimes you're just surviving,
Mhm.
but you can still look at it and go, what is I want? What are my dreams, my visions of who I would be in the future? Because if I don't write that down and capture it, I can't start to take action on what I'm going to do to get there.
Mhm.
And that is for me, those first two questions in 7Q. So 7Q means 7 questions. It's that why am I doing it and what is it I'm
Mhm.
doing? You follow those two. And I wrestled with it because we were doing different things in business than we're going to be doing in the next year or two.
Mhm.
And we're really positioning our day-to-day lives around our purpose.
Yes.
So do you want to tell them a
Including
bit about that?
including this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Love One Life is around our purpose
Yeah.
to help people understand that life is for living, life is for enjoying it, life is for being in the moment
Mhm.
and living with intention, knowing where you're going, but enjoying the moment.
Yeah, so I think that first of all, that's about being honest with yourself and honest with others. So, say for example, you're in a partnership like Fred and I. It's important that that we both achieve our individual whys, but then make sure that we're all pulling from the same page as well, and that we can support each other in those whys that we need to. And so when we thought about this podcast, it was because a lot of it is to do with being creatives. And I say that both Fred and I are creatives and, obviously artist and author and everything as well. We started to have to put time aside to actually work towards what we were looking to achieve in the future. So say for example, with Fred, you wanted to, you love being on stage, you love being a musician, you love the piano man,
Yeah, I'm an entertainer.
you love that. But he wasn't finding as much time as he could to get there, to enjoy that. And not even to really enjoy the journey. He would maybe procrastinate, put it off. Like, I won't speak for you, but I would say that you weren't applying as much time as you possibly could have to it.
Yes. And so when you're looking at what it is you're doing, if you're not wading into it and living with intention, you won't reach the goals, the purpose of what you do.
Yeah. So we started to put time in the diary.
We did. And it really helped me achieve goals because anything that you diarize and put in over a period of time, you don't write a book in 2 hours. You need to sit and do a lot of regular 2 hours to get anywhere near a book. It takes consistency.
Yeah.
And that's aligning your life is then having a plan of how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Once you know your purpose, once you know what you're doing, then you can come into how you're going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Often when you ask people, how are you progressing towards your goals? So it might be somebody out of work. This is a great example. You're out of work and you're thinking, I need to get some work. And they speak to you and you say, how are you getting on with that? Oh, not very well. Okay. How many applications are you putting in a day? Well, how many have you put in the last week? Nothing. Okay. So how are you going to get a job if you're not applying for one? There's clearly a disconnect between what people say they want and their actions of what they're actually doing. I know we all do it a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like having a vision, but let's say your dream is to be really fit and healthy. And you say, what is it that you're doing and how are you doing it? And you say, well, I'm spending a lot of time in front of the TV eating chocolate and ice cream. Okay. This is not aligned with being fit and healthy. You're going to have to make decisions and they're hard because you're going back to the comfort, the way that you've known before. And you go back to then lack of self-belief, fear of what other people think, and it holds you back. So when you get into how you do it, setting the time aside, it's looking at what you're currently doing and how you're currently doing it. And often that's where people suddenly go, if you were to record their eating, their time spent scrolling, interacting with people, that's where it tends to all look, there's a big miss. And that's where you can make a real difference.
Yeah. And it's, this isn't to shame anybody in what they're doing, because we all put things off for another day, or we'll start again on Monday, and then I definitely will. It's to help you look at, what do you want and why do you want it, and then start from there. And once you've made that decision, so if you're starting here, say on the wheel, just even having that filled out first is fantastic.
The why.
Having that filled out, why you're doing it, what your purpose is, and then this podcast, going on to the what. How can people get to the what after that?
There's a million ways to reach a purpose normally.
Okay.
Let's say I want to be sort of a guiding light to other people, inspiring them. I want financial freedom. I want to live somewhere warm. I want to have a fulfilling life. There's a million ways I could have a go at doing that. So what am I going to do to fulfill my why that works for me? That's where, for me, in my life, the passions start to come in. And I'm thinking, what is it that I really enjoy doing?
Okay.
Some people just seem to be, I think, blessed with this real core focus of, I'm going to be a racing car driver and that's it. That's my tunnel vision. I'm a racing car driver, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton. It's like tunnel vision of what they want it to be. I'm more like, well, I like a bit of this. I like a bit of that. I want to go maybe over here. So I don't feel the natural tunnel vision. So my thinking is, well, I love playing music and producing music. So I need to make sure I put time into that. I love helping people grow and guide them through the challenges in planning and execution. Well, that's my talent with planning and execution. I have a whole methodology around it. So I'm going to do that in business now more than I was doing anything else. So I've changed direction slightly and repositioned. I love Formula One. So putting out regular Formula One videos, it seems to please people and people enjoy them. And I enjoy doing it. I enjoy having an opinion on Formula One. I used to work in it when I first left university and I've been a fan ever since. So I do that. That's my what am I doing to align with my why? Well, in theory, doing this podcast and putting out Formula One stuff all helps with helping people, guiding people and connecting, having fun.
Yeah.
And my music is my purpose of, putting out great content for people again. So none of those are really doing anything financially. So we have to do business to make sure we can become financially free.
But that can be part of what you're doing. It could be making sure that you enjoy the business that you're doing as well, that you're still adding to your life and still fulfilling, because I don't buy into the idea that you have to remain in a place where you feel unrecognized or unfulfilled in your role. You can still find other jobs. You can do other things and still get paid for them. Sure, you might get paid a bit less, but maybe your quality of life goes up because of it. Or maybe you get paid more just by making the move. You don't have to stay stuck to where you are. Now, I am talking as an entrepreneur. I don't sit still very often anyway. And I know that it's very difficult for other people who don't have a similar mindset to me to be like, yeah, but you don't get it. You don't understand. I do, because I have made moves constantly. I have been in great positions where I'm getting paid handsomely, but I've decided that it doesn't fulfill me. So you don't have to transform your life, but you do have to make that decision and acknowledge what it is you want for yourself.
Yeah, that's really, really strong advice. And it reminds me of something we've not talked about here, but it's very pertinent, is all the family piece. I go back to 2019 is when I left full-time employment. And I did it partly because I wanted to be my own person in business.
Yeah.
But a big part of it was my kids, actually. Being required to be in full-time work, dotting all over the country at the drop of a hat, didn't suit my shared parenting role I had, having my children 50% of the time. And so I made a decision. I chose there's career or there's kids.
Yeah.
And I chose my children.
Yeah.
And that was a really major turning point. And so sometimes people might be thinking, well, my why is a better lifestyle. It's more time with my children and family. And when it comes to that reference you made to say work, well, if your work means you don't see your family, but you really want to, and it's meaning you've not got a lifestyle that you can enjoy, but you really want one, then what are you going to do this year or in the next few months to change it? Because just like Drea says, staying in something that is preventing you fulfilling your purpose to be a great parent, to be a great family member, you need to figure out something else. Now, sometimes it doesn't have as much money, but equally it often can. You just got to go out there and ask for it.
Yeah, I agree.
So when we come down to this then,
Yeah.
aligning your life with your purpose, there's an element of understanding your own purpose, which we've said is okay to be transitory. It doesn't have to be your purpose forever. It can just be your purpose for a period of time. And always remember your core purpose inside is to enjoy your life on this earth, in my opinion.
In your opinion.
Because that's the reason for this podcast.
Yeah, I agree with it. I think sometimes we can look so deeply as to, what is the purpose of life and what is the purpose of this and what's it all about. And I do believe that we're here to learn, and I think we're here to, give and help others as much as we possibly can along the journey, and just and be happy, and live your best life.
And don't be afraid to write your dreams down.
Yes.
Write them down in full, because you can even start writing and you can't even complete the sentence because the doubt and the lack of self-belief kick in. They start to hold you back. Just write them down anyway, and then start to say, what is it that I can do that will help me become this version of myself, this purpose that I have in my life?
So maybe today, at some point, if you get 10 minutes, maybe just before you go into sleep, write down two columns, why and what. Like, start there. First of all, think about your why. Just give it some thought. Nothing too pressure fueled or anything. And then if you can, move on to what. What can I do in order to help achieve my why? And at least if you start there, you might be doing something that you haven't managed before. Give it some consideration.
Well, thank you, Drea. Now, if you've watched this show and you enjoyed it, please share it with somebody else who you think is going to enjoy it. Everyone that subscribes, you automatically get the highlight of the next show coming up.
Yeah.
So please follow. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Fred.
I'm Dre.
Take care.
Bye.